Hello, my name is Gator, and this is my thought on the Legends in Apex Legends Season 16. This will be a 5-part series, and in this video, I'm going to start with the Assault class and my opinions on their kits, loadouts, and how I think they should be worked. Starting off with Bangalore. She has the passive of Double Time. Taking fire while sprinting makes you move faster for a brief time. Her tactical ability is Smoke Launcher. You fire a high velocity smoke canister that explodes into smoke on wall or impact. And then her ultimate is Rolling Thunder. You call in an artillery strike that slowly creeps across the landscape. The Assault passive for all Assault class characters, they get 2 passives. Access to weapon bins. You access hidden loot in the red weapon bins, and you carry extra ammo. I think the Assault class passives are perfect. I think Bangalore's passive is also good. Her smoke launcher. I believe that her smoke launcher should counter scans. If you're standing within the smoke or on the other side of the smoke, I do not believe you should be actively scanned by either Seer's ultimate, his tactical, or Bloodhound's tactical, or a crypto drone. And I also think the scan effect should also be lost on you if you walk into smoke after being hit by Vantage's sniper rifle. I think that's the only tweak they should make to her tactical ability, is I do think the smoke should counter scans. I feel like that just makes sense. Her ultimate, Rolling Thunder, the only thing I would say is make it detonate a little bit quicker. Anyone who sees this coming 90% of the time has plenty of time to just walk out of it. It does cover a very large area, and if you are in the open or unable to just move out of it, it can definitely hit you, and its stun effect is devastating, but most of the time you can just walk out of it or position yourself to where it won't hit you when it even detonates. And that's all my thoughts on Bangalore. Revenant. There is rumors that Revenant's getting a complete Nota rework. I don't think that that's 100% necessary. His passive is called Stalker. You crouch walk faster and you climb walls higher. That's definitely a solid one. His tactical is called Silence. You throw a device that deals damage and disables enemies' abilities for a short time. His ultimate, as of Season 16, is Death Totem. You drop a totem that protects the users from death instead of getting killed or downed. You will return to the totem. Armor is deactivated during death protection, so if you have any armor, it won't be harmed, it'll just be your health. Same Assault class passives with the access to weapon bins and extra ammo. Starting with his passive, I think his passive perfectly fine. His tactical Silence, the only thing I would do with that is give it the ability to, whenever you do affect a target with Silence, they begin glowing red. Not through walls, just glowing red, similar to Bloodhound's ultimate, or even the legendary scopes that allow you to like highlight enemies, right? I think that would just be great for his tactical, is whenever you do affect somebody with it, they are just lit up red for you, your teammates, random enemies elsewhere. Just make them glow red. I think that'd be just perfect for his tactical. Just allow everyone to see them clearly, not through walls, just make them light up red. His ultimate, Death Totem. Now, depending on various situations, it's either a solid pick or it is just useless. I think the way it should be done is, instead of using it and getting a few seconds of death protection while you rush off to an enemy that you probably can't reach, give it a 30-meter range around the totem that you can be within without any kind of timer. This does make it more of a control kind of ability, like for the control class, but after, say, you leave a 30-meter range around it, what if it then began a timer of, like, 5 or 6 seconds before of continued death protection before it wore off? Because a consistent problem is when you put it down, it is very loud and audible. So if enemies just move away from you, and you rush at them, they'll run out of death protection, you can just kill them when they're open. Or you just, knowing that they're going to use a totem, they only have 100 health max, you just deal 100 damage and then rush to the totem as quickly as possible while they're at least down to 50% health, and then try to finish them off. It is more of a hindrance than it is necessarily useful, and it is only useful if you can catch enemies by surprise or in a bind to where they cannot react fast enough in time. It's good at the end of a fight or surprising the enemies at the very beginning of a fight, but not if they already consciously know you're there. Giving it a 30-meter radius around it that you can move within without any kind of timer would give you more prep time or more ability to rotate and get to a position before pushing out to an enemy or before they push into you. I think that's how he should be reworked, but there is lots of talk about him being reworked completely differently. But that's pretty much all I gotta say about him. Next, my boy Fuse. Fuse, his passive is one of the best, in my opinion. You stack an extra grenade per inventory slot, and you fire grenades faster, farther, and more accurately. You can switch between throwing them regularly and shooting them with his launcher, but it is a phenomenal sidearm, or passive. His tactical ability, the Knuckle Clusters, another great passive. You launch a cluster bomb that continuously expels airburst explosives on impact. You get 2 uses of this with a 15 or so second cooldown per use. And his ultimate, another very solid and versatile option, is the Mother Load. You launch a bombardment that encircles a target area in a wall of flames. So it launches a large mortar over an area that explodes into a circle of fire that will either encompass an enemy or completely shut off a rotation. If an enemy is inside of this area, they will be highlighted for you to be able to see because the walls of fire are kind of high and they do cover a lot of vision. I think Fuse is one of the best legends, just perfect, because he does everything right. He does his job right. He has a passive that lends itself very well to his playstyle. He can put on a lot of pressure consistently, and he is good for defense and attack. I think he is perfect as is and doesn't need any changes or adjustments. Next is Ashe, another legend that I think is almost perfect. Her passive is Marked for Death. Ashe's map shows the location of recent death boxes, and when you press down on the D-pad on PlayStation, on a death box, it marks the surviving attackers once per death mark, once per death box. The people who did do it that you marked will get a notification, but it's alright. Her tactical is Arc Snare. You throw a spinning snare that damages and tethers enemies, the first enemy that gets too close. Now, whenever you do throw it, it starts out flying really fast before it slows down. But if it does hit an area and you miss the target, it will stay on that area for a few seconds before disappearing. Meaning if someone else walks into it, it'll also damage them and snare them. It does 20 damage and snares them for a few seconds, which is a phenomenal ability. I don't think anything should be changed with it. Her ultimate, which is Phase Breach, you tear open a one-way portal to a target location. So you open it from one end and it goes a pretty good little distance, and it allows you to move only one way. Anyone can use it. And I think it is a great ability for getting in or out of a situation. And I think she's genuinely just very well rounded. She can snare an enemy and move in, or she can snare an enemy and run away. She can use her snare very well with grenades or explosives. She can use pretty much any real loadout, and it works very well for her. She can use her ultimate to gain high ground, or she can use it to push fights. She is a great rounded legend in my opinion and doesn't need any change. Finally, in the Assault class, we have Mad Maggie. Mad Maggie's passive is Warlord's Ire, temporarily highlights enemies you've damaged, and she moves faster with shotguns. moving faster with shotguns definitely helps in closing the distance needed to do optimal damage with shotguns, so I think that is a good one. Temporary highlighting enemies you've damaged is just always good for tracking and keeping an eye on where enemies are. Her tactical ability, or Riot Drill, you fire a drill that attaches to an obstacle and burns enemies on the other side. A phenomenal ability. It is great for stopping campers, or it can even be shot at the ground and doorways to do a little extra damage, people passing through a doorway. Her ultimate, Wrecking Ball. You throw a ball that releases speed boosting pads and detonates near enemies. This ball is great for knocking down doors that enemies could be hiding behind or body blocking. It is great for throwing into a room that you're not sure which corner an enemy could be sitting in, because it will bounce around until it finds them and explodes, telling you, oh, closest enemies in this corner. I think she has a great kit that does one thing very well. It's attack a building or a position where there is enemies hiding. Her ability to move faster with shotguns allows her to cover more ground. The Wrecking Ball drops these little speed boosters that allow her to move even quicker, so she can throw it and run right behind it, fire off a Riot Drill, and just keep moving while pushing one objective or position that is being held. And it is a phenomenal kit. I think she also needs no changes. I think she's very well rounded. I will like to say that I believe Fuse, Ash, and Maggie are where they should get all the rest of the Legends too, because they do what they're supposed to do, or what I believe is the devs' intentions for them, very well. And I think they should be what is looked at for just how other Legends should be balanced. And I think that's all for part 1. That's the entire Assault class. Like I said, this will be a 5-part series where I cover next the Skirmisher class. Thank you for listening.